and we are streaming.
All right.
We're all set to go.
So I'll call the meeting to order here at 6:32 p.m. We have quorum of the board, 3 in person, and we have Raid on the call. It sounds like Kathy won't be joining us due to illness.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, thank you. So, in terms of our agenda, we'll be going over a couple things, just the continuing business about the recreation area, landscape projects, the front marquee project as that relates to the Orange County grant that I think I had mentioned a couple months ago on that. And then I did send around an original an email explaining this Ethernet for the lightning surge protection. But we'll go a little more detail on that. In terms of status reports for the month here in July, financially did pretty well overall here. So in terms of just a quick recap, we were favorable in every category except the guardhouse. Security services was unfavorable by $1,630 for the month. I need to check if that's timing or if they try to put through a price increase without having us sign off on it. Because I know they were asking for one a couple months ago, and with U.S. Security being bought out by Allied, or I believe it was Allied, I don't know if they arbitrarily just put that through. So I did leave a voicemail for Bernadette at Leland to take a look and do a month-over-month comparison on the costing rate for each of the invoices. I'll let you guys know when we find out there. Overall, though, you can see the basically it's the same stuff that continues to be favorable here. Management fees, social, legal is favorable, $377, copies and postage. That's probably, I think that was timed in for your postage was timed in for the the Halloween decorating contest that we had talked about.
Okay.
But that's not a major. So as you can see, we're pretty much where we need to be overall here. So from a year-to-date results, we are picking up a little faster than I even expected in terms of performance related to covering off the $26,000 assessment credit we processed back in March, I believe it was. So you see things there. Management is $6,000 favorable. I think we always knew that was there. Routine infrastructure and maintenance, grounds maintenance $2,000. Irrigation for the last 2 months has come under control, so that's been pretty steady. And not really seeing the major push like we had before. So that's a plus. And then if you notice on security services, if we're $1,781 for the year-to-date unfavorable, we in 1,680 of that was this past month. So usually the timing is offsetting itself. So if it's timing, fine, we can offset it again. That's pretty normal and standard. But if it's a price increase that they didn't have a sign off on the contract, we might have a few words on that one. So from key metrics here, our operating surplus, right now we have an operating surplus balance of about $281,000. Represents about 439 days of expenses on hand. So, it's over a year, almost year and a quarter type of thing. If you see our net income, through last month, we were at like -4%. With the performance this month, we've shortened the gap year to date through July is -1.7%. So we are covering this off faster than I anticipated. So we still have the potential for obviously the stretch target of 5.4%, which maintains the 2017 level. But we do have the potential to hit that 6% forecast that we had in there. Which, if we can do that would be a major accomplishment to churn through 6% with what we sucked up here. Here's the assessment receivables. So pretty much this is in line, as you can see, now that we have the down and then up and down, and then this spiked up here. There is one account that we have that is at the attorney's office that they're doing the final preparations for an official court filing a complaint on that one, as the time has run out on that. And I believe when I talked to Leland, there are 2 other accounts getting ready to go in the next probably 2 weeks over to the attorney. So Other than that, everything else is, basically the normal. Hey, we had a you had a payment due. People let it, it slips by when they cut the books, and then boom, we're set. So I'm assuming that this will follow its usual trend to go down next month. Aging, as you see there, we still, this is the one, for July here, 30 days. This is all basically the last quarterly payment that is sitting out there. So this will drop off, and then I'll hit back to normal standards, and that's what caused the spikes here in the number of homes within the 30 days structure here. So nothing really too concerned about. It's following the usual seasonality patterns of it. So that, no cause for concern on that. Project dashboard. I know we have a bunch of other slides talking about the recreation area in here, but we'll go through this. The guardhouse enhancements, we have 6 vendors who are putting together pretty copious packages. I've seen 2 of them so far. They've come up with like 3-4 different options, from cosmetic to complete teardown and a couple in between. So we should be able to get a pretty good idea once we have all these consolidated and aggregated, what seems to be the common thread through them, as well as, what's the pricing on that. So I do know with GCs and all the rest of that right now, it is difficult to still get people to respond on a timely basis.
Yeah, everybody's so busy.
You're getting slammed on that stuff. So that one's a little slower than I would have liked. Sidewalk grinder replacement, I'll talk about that in the infrastructure section. We had another walkthrough, we had some comparison items on the notes that I had for replacement versus what Vice Painting had. Essentially, we had 90 that were in the original contract. We've actually upped that to 106 now. And with that incremental, they're gonna, take another 20% off the pricing for the incremental panels on that. So it'll come out even less than before. So everything is locked down. They've got everything scheduled. Now if we could just get the rain to cooperate for a bit. And the rest of this week is looking a little rough, but I told them whenever they can come in and start, because they're gonna have to pull in a Bobcat. They've got to deploy, obviously, for the debris and everything. So we'll have some stuff coming on site, and just so we can get it kicked off and get a couple days straight, we can start getting that moving.
The rest of this week is wiped out.
Yeah.
Right into Sunday.
That's what I saw in the forecast too. It's not looking very strong in that regard. From the upfront program, basketball hoop replacements. I know we had talked about that as a group, and we were aligned on that. So we'll do the final analysis on that and vote that coming up here. Water fountain has been ordered. Should be shipped, or it should be arriving on site this Friday. Mike Honnell will work to get that put in for us. So that'll be done. Tennis court fence, for that, we've got 4 vendors working on that, their proposals for that. So they're giving it to us in 2 different ways. I asked them for 2 different looks at it. One is just the replacement of the tornado fencing and subsequent, I guess you want to say, repainting of the vertical post, the main post.
Yeah.
And a lot of the horizontal stuff can probably be replaced without incident. If you replaced everything, including the post, they're going to have to cut the post, cap it with cement, and then all your footings are going to have to move right or left on that, which one, you get
about 1.5 feet.
Yeah. So that one is a little bit more. I don't really care about the vertical. Or the horizontal. It's the vertical one that we're running up, and that just repaint them if there's no rust.
Right, as long as they're not rotting down the bottom.
Yeah.
That's what you care about. Yeah.
So I'm going to have them quoted both ways. Let's see that. 'Cause I'd rather just have them do the fence than have to worry about changing the whole footprint of that place. That's going to be a big job, and we're going to have that out of service for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tennis court gates, this is a new one I put on there, and we have a slide dedicated to that. We'll look at some pictures. All 3 of the gates are, how do we say, less than attractive. The middle one especially has some, broken cross member on it and whatnot. And I can tell you that having the large, very large, if you want to call it, realtor lock that sits there that people have the tennis court key for.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look upscale and what we would, attribute to a Turtle Creek. So I did get two of the vendors who are doing the tennis, the fence bid, are working on separate bids for the gate. I also had Alden come out since they manage our other gate and they've done the pedestrian gates. And that's where I got their pricing and pictures, and we'll look through that as a potential solution on that. Street lamp fixture replacement, we have everything in to Duke after that meeting, on that. So that usually, like I said, it's a 60-day lead time on that, and we're in the middle of it right now on that, so that'll be forthcoming. I am putting in a call though to Duke because I'm interested, when they replace the light that got destroyed by the Waste Pro truck, are they gonna put the old fixture on it, or are they gonna put the new fixture on it? I'm just wondering, are you gonna waste two brand new globes that you're gonna swap out maybe 2-3 weeks after you put up the new
That would be
post?
stupid.
Yeah, but it is a utility company.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, they may just,
I mean, well, they know that we have it in process, so,
yeah.
and the insurance company, well, it might be up to the insurance company what actually goes back up.
It'd be smart on their behalf, but for us, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, as long
They'll
as,
have to replace them
I just want to make sure that we get something put back up, that they haven't forgot about that, because they
I bet Duke puts an LED one up because they're trying to get away from that other stuff
yeah,
as fast as possible.
yeah, they don't want anything to do with the
No.
old sodium stuff.
No.
No.
Yeah.
So that covers the high level dashboard. We'll dive into some of the details in the other slides. From the online strategy here, we're still getting some good traction on the website. We did have some folks move in. I believe they were in Boca Point, purchased a home. They have the email consent. They had submitted that already, and they actually submitted their online voter. I saw earlier today. So we're inching up slowly on that.
That's good.
So, in terms of committee status reports, I talked to Mike yesterday. He's in Alabama, I believe, on business. So,
Yes, he is.
yeah. So, I guess from a summary, there were a couple of ARB meetings that we had, with the major focus being on the new home construction in Water's Edge. So, I think you lived that as we had to go through that multiple times. So, from what we got from the designer and the builder, as well as we consulted with Sam Carr as our engineer to look at the plans and setbacks, and Tom Slayton as the attorney to make sure everything is copacetic from a covenants perspective. The ARB did finally approve all the plans, and construction has been moving forward wholeheartedly over there. So I believe it's an 8 to 10 month build time from what the builder had said on that. So unfortunately, it's going to be messy. And just kitty corner, almost diagonal to it, you have the other home that finally cleared up all the wetland buffer items with the county. If you may have noticed, they tore everything down to basically 3 walls are left.
Wow.
So you're going to have 2 major construction projects within probably 100 yards of each other over there.
I mean, it's torn. It's just
Yeah.
there's a shell.
Yeah,
That's all.
there's not a lot left there.
Hey,
So,
we'll see it. I
yeah.
haven't seen it
Yeah,
They tore the house down.
yet.
yeah. So I mean, I'm sure both of them will come out great, but it's just we're going to have to be mindful not of only the noise and the dirt and everything else for the folks that live around there, but from access control. We're going to have a ton of vendors coming in and out for contractors for whatever trade is on that. So
That was about the 15th house when I bought, and I remember that mess. Wow.
yeah,
Years.
it's
That's tough.
I wouldn't want to live next to it. Social committee, I didn't put anything major items for you, Nick. I just made a upcoming item, the Halloween decorating and holiday decorating. So
Yeah.
we'll work through that. I think we're talking about
And then the event for if we ever want to do
the food truck.
the food truck idea, but that's more of a maybe around this time or
Yeah. I think once we can get past the weather here
Yeah,
and get
yeah, I
something
agree.
a little more predictable, and a little less
A
steamy.
little more constant.
Yeah.
I'm up this heat every freaking day. I don't want to see any more of it.
Yeah. No, it's not fun. So.
Yeah. Sounds good.
IT committee here. So just to go over the highlights, phase 2 website enhancements. Spoke with a vendor this week. We had a couple items they had to do before they finished this. So that should be in shortly, and I can send out that list of, figure out what you guys want from a priority perspective, what we need to focus on, and carve up, stuff that we wanted at launch that we didn't, and then new stuff we thought of, type of thing. So that should be coming. We do have a specific now road tree trimming e-form, just to show it really quick. So if you go under there, you can actually, type in your name, your address, your email, your phone number, describe your request of the, what needs trimming, front of the house.
Or trimmed right at the ground level.
Yeah. If we come on there, it's saying if it's overhanging your property, yes or no. If yes, you consent to let the HOA selected vendor to work on your property. If not, I guess you press no and figure it out from there. And we also put in there you can actually upload your own little, if you wanted to take a picture for even more specific, you can upload 2 pictures in there or whatever you want. So that is live and tested now. You can go in there. It goes to, it gets routed to myself and Maria, so 2 people
Okay.
get it. So we cut down on competing emails and whatnot. There was an error that we found, a 404 error, because right now I think I had mentioned it before. We have a redirect that goes to the actual new site from the old site. So www.turtlecreekhoa gets redirected to the vertilink.leland. Whatever it is, in there. So it's seamless. If you've had it bookmarked, you should be able to get to it. Now, in theory, you should be able to type into your URL bar, turtlecreekhoa.com, hit it, it'll append the www on the front and take you there. It was not doing that.
Wow.
So, once we figured out where we had the domain parked again, I always forget that, the redirect is actually coded as an A record. So an A record is your basic redirect where you're defining each one of the things, versus we changed it, and this was done last night, to a dynamic C name.
Good.
So now the C name is letting this thing rip through, and we've got no issues right now from testing today on all this stuff. And this is across all the browsers. Chrome, Safari, IE, Firefox. So we got all
So
that.
it works all the way. Perfect.
Yep. So that's done. So it was,
Work with my Netscape?
make sure to put in the free disc you get in the mail. So that kind of covers the IT committee there. That's the road tree request. All right, infrastructure and access control. In terms of the infrastructure, our 3-year engineering report was completed and filed with Orange County, so that is done per the necessary requirements on that. As I mentioned, the sidewalk project, we're going to be doing 106 panel replacement and root mitigation where necessary versus the original 90. We had a rear pond fountain failure on 8/9. It was resolved, within a couple days on that. And then today we had a severe leak. I didn't know if gusher would have been the right term, but I mean it was like a seal or something blew underground, and I mean it was going everywhere in terms of all of the necessary stuff. So Brightview was actually came on site within 20 minutes, shut the breaker down. I know they're troubleshooting and triaging it, so hopefully they can get us a root cause of what needs to be done to repair it by tomorrow morning to see what's going on. But yeah, that thing was a mess. A couple of people sent me pictures of it. I mean, it was like somebody turned on a fire hydrant type of thing back in the day.
New water park coming
Yeah.
to Turtle Creek
That's
soon.
Yeah, where's my slide?
Yeah, slip and slide. Let's see, tennis court fence replacement. We've got the 4 vendors. They've all been on site, looked at it. We're waiting for all the proposals to be returned. Hopefully within the next week we get all of them back and take a look at them and see where we land. Our exit gate sign, it is shipping. We got confirmation it's shipping on August 28th, so it has been powder coated to black to match versus having an aluminum look or a brown. That's standard.
That's the replacement one, right? From the one we have now?
Yeah. So that should hopefully be installed the early part of September. Tree trimming, we're still rolling up to the end of August for all the work orders completed. We had 7 work orders outstanding with them. We've got 3. I know they were on site for like 20 minutes today, and then they had to disembark. Trying to get, trying to find a window for them to start continuing on getting the, you still have the sidewalks, the over-road canopy. I know they've done the majority of the houses that were requested. We still have some follow-ups on those and some new requests. The root balls have been taken out of the front at the entrance, and then next to the Boca sign, that stump is now gone.
Oh yeah, I remember which
Right,
one you're
yeah.
talking about.
That because that was one of the trees that got
That
cracked in the
stump.
hurricane, but the stump had stayed there, so that's now gone. So hopefully
That's nice.
yeah. Well, that frees it up if we want to put sod there or a planting or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I failed to mention here was the Waste Pro incident, probably now a week and a half ago, 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
somewhere around there.
Exiting the Boca Point, leaving the facility, the bucket was not down. It hit the 2 trees, wiped out the street lamp. We incurred $300 to have the same day cleanup. That subsequently was filed with Orange County, who is following up with them. We should hopefully have our check as reimbursement within the next week on that. So the gentleman at Orange County Solid Waste said it was pretty clear what happened, from what we submitted.
From the video
Yeah.
evidence.
Yeah, the video and the report and the pictures and everything. So, we'll get reimbursed on made whole on that.
Yeah.
Our staffing, in terms of as back to the normal roster, I think all the PTO has been worked through there. We're still looking for training, potential substitutes, to get somebody for the holiday season because,
It's gonna
again,
be busy.
somebody gets sick or something, I don't need Alan or someone else trying to work, 3 doubles in a row or something to cover
Yeah.
off. They need to have some swing people. But obviously, I've got to assess where U.S. Security is at as a company with the purchase from Allied.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know Jose Negron, the account manager, is on PTO this week, so we'll have him come on site next week and talk to him about that.
Okay.
Nick, from your perspective, did you see anything from Alan mention anything?
No. The supplies that
Yeah, we're about halfway through the list.
okay.
So I think we've got the new LED light bulb / bug zapper up there at the one.
Yeah, Alan was saying something about it's popping the lid off of the light fixture or something like that.
Of course.
Yeah, of course something's wrong with it.
So the other thing, we're working through the list there.
Yeah,
And that
okay.
it should be done by the end of next month, that whole list. And we'll
Sounds
be
good.
good to go on that.
Sounds
So.
good to me.
In terms of moving on here to continuing business, basketball. So basically, I know we had talked about this before. We had 2 bids on this, and the overall scope is they're gonna remove and dispose of the 2, backboards and the rims. They're gonna repaint the court posts with the Sherwin-Williams DTM or a similar color, black, something for an out exterior. And then we'll replace it with the Lifetime, the 48-inch Fusion acrylic backboard, rim, and combo, and it's got the high density polycarbonate, and it has that trim underneath. Let's call it the head guard.
Yeah, the bump.
Bump stop. You want to call it that?
bump.
So Honnold's doing that. A little under 1,600.
Okay.
So, but officially, we'll make it. I'll make the motion to accept the Honnold property maintenance bid for the basketball court replacement in the amount of $1,597 to be put against the recreation reserve.
I'll second
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
it.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Here's the tennis court gates. So basically, like I was saying, the current gates there, you can see there's a tall picture of them there, but you see how we have the lock mechanism there, which,
Yeah.
and that's the middle, the bottom cross member for the middle gate. It actually doesn't have the hinge on it, so it's actually just been rope closed. But I mean, you can see the cracking, which, and the rust,
Yeah.
that's dead. So when Alden was out taking a look at those, I said, okay, how do you get something on this thing that makes it look a little bit better than the huge lock that's sitting here? So they'll weld in this box and then put in a key, basically a knob on there, and then we'll install one of the hydraulics. I think these are similar to the hydraulics that sit on the gates, the pedestrian gates at front. So they will close behind.
Oh, okay.
Because right now
They
there
close
is.
themselves, yeah.
Right now there is none, and some of the time, they'll be open or something, they're not shut all the way. So, and that would be all 3 gates, plus they would do any kind of, necessary maintenance, fixing it, painting it back to a regular green. So the Alden was the first mossy oak fence and no limit fencing. They're still working on theirs. But for all 3, it's, basically $3,300 on that. I mean, it is what it is. So you got the 3 steel lock boxes, 3 knobs, gives us 100 restricted keys. So we'll have to do a key swap, 1 for 1. If you bring your key, get a new key type of thing for folks. And then, all the labor, basically, the welding, the paint, install, configure, and the hydraulic closers, which, I think those will be a help too, up there for sure.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know where mossy oak fence is gonna come on this, or no limit fences. I don't know, maybe if they're gonna do the fence, can they cut price on the gate type of thing?
Right.
We still got a lot outstanding, but I think our worst case scenario, if you wanna call it that, would be the $3,290 on that. I don't expect, we're not gonna pay more than Alden on it.
No.
On that. I mean, if anything, if Alden gets the fencing contract, they're gonna have to drop that. They're gonna have to start chopping down the $3,200. So, I think we should proceed forward, and it's my opinion, to get a not to exceed approval for the $3,290, and then we'll see where it goes and what the other ones come in, and then we can, figure out which vendor we choose as part of the total tennis court, fence, gate, refurb activity.
Works.
So, I'll make the motion then for the tennis court gates to have a not to exceed amount of $3,290 for replacement, as well as locks and hydraulic taken from the tennis court reserve account.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Replacement benches. So,
Benches.
yeah, benches. So right now we have basically 2 benches out there that are, currently installed, and one that was formerly in the tennis court that is not secured, that sits over in front of the basketball by the tot lot, which would become a permanent, or should become a permanent fixture at that point. So you've got a couple different ones here. So I know the ones that we have, or if you want to call it, are the very basic commercial, almost like a school.
Yes, there, yeah.
Yeah, basically,
School, is it the ones we talked about last time?
Yeah.
The ones
Yeah.
that have that rubber or
Yeah.
whatever it is?
Yeah,
around
rubber
them?
cover, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I found so far. So I've got 11 benches that I've got 5 vendors quoting. So for us to review, but these are just a sample. I just wanted to share kind of as a
They're
status
nice.
update here. I mean, you can get, you see the 5-foot green personalized. You can have Turtle Creek put in there with punch steel. It's 862 total. You've got, some of the other ones with the backing and the arms a little bit more, if you want to say more upscale look, you're running about 1,000 to 1,200 across the board. And this one here is the Belson Outdoor, which already has it comes with everything you see there. It has the 3, and then it has the screen over the top. And I will say, I know we had this discussion in the one meeting, if you put I think it was with the tennis court things, if you put something other than a canvas or a sail over it, does that metal get hot? And I can tell you, University of Central Florida has a ton of stuff like that. They don't get hot. I was amazed on that. So I think the heat, unless obviously there's nothing you can do if it's going to be shining directly on the seat, but
Yeah.
when it's coming straight down, I think that we could deploy a metal solution like that. That's $3,000 for that. But if you look at the other ones, you would still have to install some kind of canopy over the one, especially at the basketball court, for sure. And you're probably going to end up at $3,000 anyways when you put something over the top of it.
Easy.
Also depends on where you put them. If there's tree cover,
Well, the
Because it
one,
cannot be
the
necessary.
one that sits at the top lot right now in the front where they have the.
Yeah, the front.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
wouldn't need anything, because that's
Yeah.
covered by those
It's covered
trees,
by
so
the
that's
trees.
just the bench.
Yeah.
Now that one, we would put a concrete pad down and lock it in, because I
Right.
think.
Lock it in, yeah.
Yeah, like the one at the basketball court has a concrete pad, and that table has a concrete pad
Mhm.
over there. Now, the other one, we'd have to see, by the basketball, between the basketball hoop and the, tot lot right there, where they have that tennis, the old tennis court bench.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That one, it's I mean, it gets not, it gets a lot of shade during the day, but not all day. So I mean, we may not have to put anything there, and we may just start with that, and then if we had to add.
If we have to
we should
add a
add
canopy,
later.
we can. Yeah, I just
But,
wouldn't want to go.
but I know that the one that sits closest to the tennis court,
Mhm.
that thing is like brutal in the sun all day.
Yeah.
So, and they're all really, that thermoplastic or whatever they put on there, that's all really coming to end of life too,
Yep.
on that.
Yeah, the sun gets to it eventually.
Yeah, and I don't know how long they've been there, I've got to imagine they've been there a long
Oh
time.
yeah.
Probably just supposed to build,
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah,
when
they're
they
meant
finish
to
it.
last forever.
Yeah.
it's 20 years.
So, but I figure we'll have all the information and be able to vet it and take a vote at the next meeting.
Yeah,
When
they're
we get all
nice.
this, but
I like 'em.
this is kind of the design direction we're looking at,
Right.
I know that
Yeah.
we said we wanted something a little more upscale than the basic,
Mhm.
run-of-the-mill,
Yeah.
middle
Yeah.
school type of look.
Not middle
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's not very pretty.
yeah.
It's not very upscale at all. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then.
the middle.
There you go, there's the high school
Oh
stuff.
boy.
Yeah. Now, the replacement table here, we have that one that we, kind of relocated. It was over by the Pines, and now it's over by the tennis court and the drinking fountain. With the new drinking fountain going in, that table's really at end of life too. If you look at
Yeah.
the coating on it. This one though, if we're looking for more of a comfortable type of look with the backs on it, you see the one in the middle, that is kind of that same.
It's the same type of thing. Yeah.
It is the same type of thing, and then you have like the outdoor one with that one's a little more upscale, that
Left
one
and right.
right there, the one on the right.
Yeah.
And then you have the other ones there, which, you can see it's a solid table where it's got almost it doesn't have that mesh, it's almost got like the punch through on the steel. So you got, I think 6-seat might be a little over the top, so the 4-seat.
Yeah, jamming in there,
Yeah.
it's tough to get in and out of those things.
Yeah, because we already have an existing pad over there.
Yeah.
So we'll leverage the same concrete pad,
Yep.
stick it in. But I mean, this is what I've just seen so far. I do have some other ones coming in, 7 tables across 3 vendors
Yeah.
on that, and see what
Could
can
we
find.
try something like a rectangular, like a picnic bench style? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Like the rectangular, it's very classic. It could be upscale depending on what materials you use, but at least it's like picnic, kind of
Yeah,
runs in
I
part.
mean, if we want to take a look at it, I can add it to the list.
Yeah.
So-
Obviously not the,
Right.
yeah, you get it.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not, don't we have those now? No, the rectangle, oh no, they're from my middle school, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, those rectangular ones that are the same thing, the rubber.
A lot of the high schools I go to that have the outdoor
High schools have them
cafeterias,
now too.
Mhm.
they use that middle one,
Mhm.
and I mean, these kids beat the heck out of them, and they're still going strong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
They
they're
take a
durable.
beating.
Oh yeah.
So, well, I'll add that to the list, and then
Awesome.
I'll call up the vendors and have them add it to their package that they want to go through. So. Okay, landscape improvements. I know we've done some work on this stuff. Here's the wall plantings. I took that today. As you can see, the storm clouds building in the background.
Oh yeah, that was today.
So basically on our wall plantings, we had talked about that for a couple times, but we got the 12 crepe myrtles in. We had 4 planted on the recreation side, and then the other 8, were on the other side. Gives you it really does, from the spacing perspective and everything, it comes out solid on that. All the what's it called, irrigation run has been completed and checked. The new timer box is over there. They actually gave us a free timer box, so they brought 2, and they put another one in. They didn't charge us for it over on the other side.
That's good, yeah.
So that is all pretty much done and closed out, and those are the 30-gallon ones, so those are bigger than the standard off the shelf. We went for the upsized ones on that, so I think it came across pretty well. There is one follow-up item that we're going to have Mike Honnell do. If you notice up in the picture there, you see the line that's the irrigation run line for the timer.
Oh, yeah,
We're gonna have him paint it.
yeah.
And we actually have the actual paint, two paints to mix, so it
To mix
matches our
it,
bricks.
yeah.
So he'll paint it when he comes and does the basketball hoops.
Excellent. Wow.
Because it does kind of stick out
It does.
when you look at it, unfortunately.
Why didn't they run it down the block?
Because I know that we have the right straight down on that same run
Mhm.
is for all the column lights they're running.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah,
right, yeah.
yeah.
That ran, that trench ran that
Mhm.
way, so I think they put it up on the wall like that, but we'll have it painted and taken care of.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, we do need to officially, I guess you wanna say ratify our decision on that, so, let me see, I wanna make sure I got the right price. So I'll make the motion here, for Brightview installation of the, I guess you wanna call them interior wall plantings to be taken from, reserve account in the amount of, $9,976. Is there a second?
Second, yeah.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And then the bottom one here is, I sent this out, what was it, last week or whatever, we finally got the proposal back. So I know that continuing, when we did some of this landscaping stuff, even, as I was joining the board, there was a huge push to flip landscaping stuff. We have seemed to grown into kind of like an arboricola farm, with the amount of greenery we have. And on several occasions, people have mentioned, if there's an opportunity to diversify, get color in there, which, that's what we did at the gate, in front of the gatehouse and around the circle with that red bottle brush, that'll pop nice instead of arboricola there, or, another kind of just green plant. So, in looking at some of this, and you see from there, in the middle median, and I actually had a homeowner send me something from another community did this, and it really looks good, is they took, kind of the ends and they capped them in, annuals. So as you're driving down, people will be able to see, 3 times a year, they get rotated, like our annuals always do.
Mhm.
But they'll be removing the arboricola and then putting in, in different, it's 1, 2, I think it's 4 spots. There's another spot too. So you'll have 328 annuals between the 4 spots installed to provide the color. And it'll
Nice.
pretty much look, if you notice when you leave the community, you have the island with the flagpole. That has that toe in the front that has the annuals there, or
Yep.
the toe on the end of the median that sits there, has it right before you get to the circle.
Yeah.
That always has the annuals there. Unfortunately, that seems to get run over a lot on the side. I don't know why.
Yeah. Don't ask.
But basically, let's see, I think I put down there rotated 3 times a year. The actual cost impact will take our annual GL account for annuals back to our 2016 levels. So previously, we used to do annuals 4 times a year. So when we looked at it, the annuals were lasting longer and longer. Sometimes you're going to have an odd one where you have really ridiculous rain, really ridiculous heat, and they
Right.
get stressed.
Yep.
And if we had to, we have contractual language. We can pull up a service and get annuals quicker. But from 4 times a year, we were taking out stuff that was still pretty looking fresh, looking
Yeah,
mature, looking
good, yeah.
built in. So when we did that, it dropped our annuals down. The amount we spend on a yearly basis on that down. For the past year and a half.
Nice.
If we do this, it just moves it right back up to where we were before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really kind of a net zero, in my opinion,
Yeah.
operating expense, because it's it's going back to a 2016 level
Yeah.
we never had an issue with.
Right.
So I know that Brightview came back and they knocked another 5% off of the price for the install and everything. So to do that and all the work would be $2,216.30.
Geez, that's pretty good.
So that's removal. They're actually, this one right here, if you've ever noticed, it kind of goes like an S. They're actually gonna build it out more.
Oh,
So
interesting.
you're gonna have more of a, if you wanna call it a semicircle.
Or
So it's
arc,
more,
yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
I don't know how how it got like that. But, I mean, if that's something, I think it'd make a difference in terms of the look and the,
Are we doing the entire median from exit gates to,
So you've got
Circle.
1, 2, 3, three or four spots, and then
Yeah.
as soon as you come in, you'll see that, and then that's between the what's it called, the little driveway to the park that
Yeah.
you can cut through.
Yeah.
Both of those tips, and then I think at the end of that one, that's the tip by the end of the roundabout that already.
so we're
has
doing
it.
3, 1, 2, 3?
Three, yeah, three.
3?
Yeah.
Sorry, 3, yeah, 1.
Because don't we have similar flowers over by the entrance and exit gates in the median?
You
I'm
have,
trying to think of what I have there.
you only have them on the tip of the, as you leave,
Okay.
on the island.
I'll have to look when I drive by. Yeah, I thought we still had something that's over by that. The exit
No,
gate and entrance
yeah,
gate.
no, we don't have that there. So
Okay.
the annuals we have now are, the 2 tips on the flagpole island, and then as you get to the roundabout, you have some of the annuals that sit in the roundabout circle where we have the, was it Hawaiian tie,
Yeah.
or call it, stuff like that in there, and then you have annuals that go on the wing walls on that one strip, second tier in the middle on that.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think this would, brightening up will definitely diversify the color a bit.
What type of colors are we thinking of adding?
They're seasonal. I can have them send us what they usually, what we're scheduled for. But we try to stay away from anything like a crimson or anything like that. It's usually
Yeah.
the pink or a brighter red. I know we've done white and a lavender mix before.
Yeah.
And then we can have this done by the time they have to rotate the next ones in, which should be the next month, I think, is our next rotation.
Okay.
So, if we're good with that, I can make the motion to accept the annual, the annual bed for the median from Brightview in the amount of $2,216.30 to be taken from a reserve account.
I'll second
Okay. All in favor?
that. Aye.
Aye.
Front marquee project, so
Oh,
update on this. I think we had reviewed the survey results last time from the 3, because we had the bubblers only, we had the waterfall effect, and then we had the waterfall and bubbler.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they've both been, yeah.
And the option 1 was, I guess the preferred pick from a votes cast perspective was the bubblers only. So looking at this and looking ahead, we're really in there's 2 separate things that we have to decide on what we're gonna do with the front marquee. One of them, I think, is the lettering, the brass lettering we talked about, that has never been taken off and refinished.
Right.
That
Mhm.
is something that, is gonna have to get done, and I'm waiting on revised quotes, because if we're doing those, we should also do the monuments, the waters, the Avalon, and the Boca all at one time.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Are we still
yeah.
thinking of backlighting?
Yes, but they have to pull that off,
Yeah.
and then
Oh, yeah, it's a big project.
take a
Yeah.
look at that, and, we can look at it, if it makes sense, yeah. If not, then we can get something that mounts on the wall, LED, something that today, the thing that sticks in the ground, it should be mounted to the wall at all times, just
Yeah.
to make sure from a.
That's gonna be interesting now with the bubblers in the way. That's where it's gonna get tricky.
Yeah, now the bubblers are the optional item, when we don't have to do that, we could do something else on the top.
I like it. It looks good.
That does look pretty sweet. So the vendors are working on, splitting it, because some of them put all of it together as one.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, no, if we're gonna do the capital improvement grant, which is the total project cost is between 12 and 20K, I want flexibility to see what we put in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So you would have the bubblers as a standalone, or the letter refinishing as a standalone. And then the other monuments, since we can't use Orange County grant money for anything inside our gates,
Inside.
Right.
you'd have a separate quote for the monument signs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're slicing and dicing all those numbers to get them into the right buckets in terms of the quoting. But looking ahead on the process there, we need to get ahead of it. And one of the items there is to get officially in our meeting minutes that the board has approved the 50% match for the
Right.
grant, whatever it is.
Sure.
So, the grant can, like I said, it's 12 to 20,000. Our funds would be 6 to 10,000, and the county would match the other half of it.
Yeah.
It's my thought,
pretty good.
because when we did the last time for the lighting, we had to have a special board meeting to do that, to get the minutes done and taken care of. I would recommend we approve it now. If we
Yep.
use it, great. If we don't,
We don't.
we don't.
Yeah, just come
But
away.
but it gives us the flexibility, and it's one of the, to get the package pulled together, I don't think we need a 15-minute meeting just to do something where
Right.
we could have already done it.
Right.
Yep.
So, I don't know if everybody's in agreement with that, I mean.
Oh, that's a great idea,
Might
yeah.
as well.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to, how am I gonna phrase this? To commit the HOA to the
50%.
capital improvement grant matching funds of 50% in the event that we move forward with the grant.
There you go. That sounds good. I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You right?
Aye.
Okay, all right, just wanna make sure.
Where's the- no.
Yeah, so we'll figure that out because they are starting up the new grant season.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Let's see, I think that was it for continuing business. New business here, Ethernet surge protection. So I know, I was talking to Lincoln as we were up there, replacing the switch that got blown out again, that got hit by lightning. So we have a tendency to get hit by lightning a lot. That gatehouse takes it.
Yeah, Alan's told me about that.
But we also
Yeah.
have it striking like the Island Lake Court cameras because they sit up on, they're on the pole, they're just sitting out there, and they take a hit, and when that retention pond pulls in, the water starts to get it, and lightning hits it. I mean, we're getting a surge on some of this stuff. It's blowing out equipment that we continue to have to replace, and it's shortening the life of the cameras because the cameras aren't meant to take so many lightning hits.
No.
They're supposed to take some
I
hits.
think
but
they're
not-
meant to take any.
Yeah.
Electricity is electricity.
So Lincoln and I were talking, and this is just an example of one, and I think there's another one that he's already a value-added reseller for. But essentially, you have the indoor and the outdoor components of putting on an Ethernet surge protector. So basically, these are mounted in there. You just it's like just put it like a line splitter, put both your lines in, and then that would help defray some of it. Is it 100% assured? No. But the cruise ships deploy these on a consistent basis for the lightning strike when they try to, they have their internal Wi-Fi, they have to keep
Yeah.
that, and then whatever the customer, or cruiser is. I mean, literally when the gatehouse got struck last time, that was $197 replacement for that switch.
Yeah.
And I know in the last 2 years we've replaced at least 3 switches on that. Now, it did also blow out the modem, which that's a spectrum issue. But we do have a backup modem on hand, so we can get back up
Switch
online
over, yeah,
faster.
yeah.
But I don't want to get into stocking up on modems and switches, and
Jeez.
you're carrying inventory on equipment that's
Yeah.
not really necessary. So essentially, if you look at what we'd be looking at on a rough estimate here, you're looking at about $60 per port times our 23 ports that we have. You're about $1,380. Now, that was what Lincoln was quoting me, and I know that, he showed me his cost and labor and everything. He said he would cap us at like 2.5% on the overall margin on that. So I don't think you're gonna find any cheaper.
That'd be tough to do,
Yeah. So, but he's working on the final figures, as well as I'm going through all of our records where we purchased all this stuff. I want to do a return on investment. What's the payback years on
Right.
this? So for 1,400, is it a 2.5-year payback? Is it a 10-year payback? Let's see what we can look at if it makes sense financially from an investment perspective. Not to mention the fact that anything to help us defray these constant surges over and over and over again. The other thing that we're looking for, I have Maria working on, is the turtle guy that sits on the thing. That's the lightning, weather vane, lightning rod, whatever you want to call it.
Lightning mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, that was never hooked up. And I guess, and I know that Kent was looking at this when he was still here, and it kind of fell off the radar. But you have to have a special license or certification in the state of Florida to be able
To do that.
to
Yep.
do that. So
That's right.
I'm trying to have somebody, have Maria hunt somebody down that's either in the Leland system or somebody she can work with getting in the Leland system. So stay tuned on that, because I'm assuming that that's probably a rare certificate that's sitting out there. I mean, I don't know too many people who go to school for that, but I could be wrong. But if maybe between something like these port and then getting that stupid weather vane lightning stick taken care of, that can help significantly reduce the hits that we're taking on that.
Yeah.
So
I've got a huge background in lightning. It's what I do now and did. I used to design that stuff for the military, and there's not much you can do about it.
yeah,
Bottom line,
there's no foolproof.
the big thing is grounding. Ground straps, ground rods, that big heavy braided ground wire.
Yeah.
That really is where you get 99% of your protection, and you have to
good
tie
grounding.
everything to it.
Yep. So, and maybe if we do that, we don't spend the money on the port, the surge protectors.
Mhm.
We try that out, and then if we still continue to have issues, then we try the surge
Yeah,
protectors.
those
So,
port things, they don't work.
I've seen pretty good luck on them for some of the
Yeah.
stuff that I've done, but again, I move stuff to data centers.
Yeah,
that.
They're all encased and
Yeah,
everything.
so, but figured we put it forward, we'll have a deeper dive review next meeting
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was actually the end of the new business. I just want to go through that. So from a board perspective, did we have any items that we missed or that you guys can think of?
No, not really.
Just making a note on the surge protectors here, and then the grounding.
Yeah, the grounding for the turtle.
Grounding is really
For the turtle.
important. That's where you're gonna get really most of your protection.
Lightning fast turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. So, all right, with that, I know we're running a little ahead of schedule, but I will turn it over to the floor for anyone who's interested.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What street lamp did you finally design?
That was it was the option one. It was the
The one with the hat?
Right? No, it was called the Mitchell LED with bands and a top hat.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, Madison Mitchell or it's the same. But,
There were like two that were.
Yeah, because I think everyone liked the ones with it came up and it had the circular piece around it and the ribs, and it was just the top hat versus no top hat.
Right.
And I think that once we did kind of a little field trip and everybody kind of swung by the Ruby Lake
Yeah.
with the open acorn look and the 70-watt LED, it was kind of blistering and it was going to be way too intense.
It's intense.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's intense.
Yeah, at night when the light was on,
Mhm.
it was fine looking.
Yeah.
But in the daytime, when you see the space going through the whole thing and
It looks like
everything else
it's
around,
like
cheap,
broken
looks cheap.
because I think everybody's been growing up with there's a diffuser
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
within the crown or whatever it is in there.
And it's
Just
really
didn't
gonna help with
look.
the bugs too.
Yeah. So yeah, that and like I said, it's a 60-day lead time on most of that stuff. So we're about halfway through, waiting for those, and I'm sure they're running behind too with all the weather.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
I'm just glad it's
Yeah.
not the one that is.
Yeah, no.
Ruby Lake.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, definitely.
Hi, I'm new. I'm Candace Hope. We just
Candace.
It's good to meet you.
Now I have a face for the email.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's good to meet you all. We're delighted with everything that's going on and learning about our development in our new city. Our property is just is not actually on the Pulte, but the two brick fences intersect, and we're about 10 feet in from it.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering what the reaction has been of Turtle Creek homeowners to how Pulte has handled the landscaping, and could you just update us
Yeah,
on what's going on and
Yeah, and that one I've been working with Pulte, I don't know, ever since they started clearing the land on that.
I'm sure
and
it's a frustration.
we because originally they didn't have any plans to put any landscaping up that they took down. So they have put in all the landscaping, the entire run has been put in with a mix, and they put in some semi-mature stuff. Obviously it's not what everybody would have liked, but I think it's probably a better outcome than we could have hoped for. So I haven't had too many issues with the actual landscaping. It's more been the complaints that I have to filter over to Pulte is, the dust. They start work at 7 o'clock, the loud music, that type of stuff has been more, the major, probably 90% of the complaints that get filtered through me on that. But for the most part, I think for the landscaping in and of itself, I mean, that was a tough one. I mean, we had to get our engineer out here. We raised a complaint with Orange County to get them to kind of move off the schneid, so to speak, and get going. But they, I will say they did put it all in. It's a pretty good mixture. I think 5 or 6 species on that. And then the big thing that I pushed for that they agreed to was all of that is considered HOA common area, so it's all on HOA owned and managed irrigation. So they were actually going to hook it into each of the houses, which again, depending on your owner, they may not want to spend money on irrigation, and now you're going to have somebody who takes care of it, it's lush, and then somebody don't water, it's kind of failing. So from a sake of consistency and maintenance, they came to the table on that to make sure that that's all. Yeah, because I know that when they said that, I'm like, great, that's not what you want. And but yeah, most of it, has to do with the dust. I mean, when they cleared land a couple, was it 2 weeks ago? I don't know what they did, but it was like raining dandruff down. I mean, because I'm 2 houses away from the wall on the middle pond. I mean, it was still coming over there. I've had to go over there for music. You hear the loud
Construction
music.
guys are blasting.
I know. So yeah, those are the big ones. Is that, and especially like the work time. I know that they're permitted to work. I think it's Monday through Friday. On the exterior, it's only like during the daytime hours. But on the interior, for the framing and all the rest of that stuff, they have extended hours. And the framing can happen on the weekends too, if they're putting in that. But I think the weekends have not the 7 a.m. start time that's normal during the week. I think it's pushed back, but they're still starting like at 7 a.m. on like a Sunday or something. And
Well, the way to look at it, the sooner they get it done, the better off we all are.
And I will say, I mean, they when they start putting up the house, I mean, they're on a 60-day build cycle for each house. So, and they've been holding pretty true to that, in terms of clearing it, dropping it, put it in, type of thing. So the sooner they get through phase 1, which is essentially phase 1 runs the entire length of our wall, as well as their street, like right across from there. So once they get through phase 1, then they can go to the back side of the property. Not saying it's going to be ideal, but it's farther away from the wall, the less noise, dirt, and grime, and issues.
Houses blocking the noise, that'd be great.
Did you say that they're gonna go to the far side, or are they gonna go to the next street over?
They're gonna, I forget their
They're gonna
build
leave
plan.
it over.
Yeah, because there's 3 phases to it. And I know that phase 1 is by us. I think phase 2 is what goes like kind of almost like an elbow around, because they build the big lots, because they have the 7 large lots that sit on with Little Fish Lake access. And then they come forward. Phase 3 is like, I guess the rest of the stuff you can see from over their wall type of thing.
Where's the clubhouse and pool gonna be?
Far end.
Oh, good.
That was part of the design process when I met with them. They were showing, the tennis courts, the pool, the clubhouse, all that stuff is moved far away.
Thank you so much.
So that was something, because originally it was kind of set in the middle. If you look at the first plans that they put in on their preliminary site plan, it was in the middle of the property. It's now been moved probably, I mean, they took 3 houses out, put 3 houses there, and then moved everything to the corner almost. So that hopefully keeps,
That's a huge.
disturbance down, especially late night and stuff like that here and
Thank you.
so.
I'm making a couple things. First, I'd like to propose that we skip the December meeting. I don't think anybody wants to come 10 days before Christmas. You can see by the turnout now who's showing up. What do you guys think? Do we need that December meeting that bad?
Yeah, we're still gonna have stuff to vote on.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it hits it on
10
the
days
nail.
before Christmas, nobody's gonna show up.
Well, I mean, that's, there's still issues that need to be addressed. That's what it comes down to. I mean, yes, I preferably wouldn't want to come to a meeting like this, but I have to. There's obligations,
The full board
responsibilities.
to come on a regular month. I mean, Christmas is Everybody wants to be with their family, you know?
I'm here.
Well, I mean, we'll still be live streaming it, so if you wanna watch it during live stream, if you can't make it, if you wanna watch it afterwards, after the meeting, it'll be on YouTube. I mean, we still give you the option to watch it. I mean, you're not obligated to come to these.
Yeah, but you can't speak up, you can't ask questions when you're watching it.
Yeah, well, if you're there for the live stream, we take your questions on YouTube. I constantly monitor just to make sure no one has, but I monitor if you have a question. So, and you could always ask afterwards. I mean, after the meeting as well. Send an email to Mike or
Maria.
any of us, yeah.
All right, the next thing, could you explain more about the advanced tree trimming project? Did you say there was only 7 trees left to be done, or
7 work orders.
That's all?
No.
My next door neighbor Fran wanted me to ask you about this.
Yeah.
He had called you and you said you're doing them in separate segments?
Yes. Because if
All those segments, there's only 7 trees left?
No, I have 7 work orders that cover 300 plus trees that are gonna get touched. And the root balls that need to be extracted at the front. The reason it was done like that is because if we put it into one bundle, they would not be able to support getting that done until, even getting on site until the end of September. And since the hurricanes are most active starting like August 20th through the peak in mid-September, I wanted it done and told them we need to get it done before the end of August. So I said, here, why don't we do this? Break it into different work order buckets as I came in, and then work on them sequentially, you know, and if you're in for 2 days to knock out one work order, fine, you come back, end of the week, fit it in one way or another. And that's how we're
So there's more
approaching
than
it.
7 trees, you're talking 7 groups then?
There's hundreds and hundreds of trees.
Yeah.
Hundreds left.
Yeah.
No, I mean, basically, yeah, I mean, they still have to do, over the road, has to go to 18 feet, the canopy over the road, that's one work order. The sidewalks, we're gonna take to 10 or 12, that's another work, you know, those are still things that are outstanding, they need to get back on site. And I still have more homes to do on there from requests.
And are they charging us per tree that they do?
What do you mean per tree? I don't have a $20 per tree charge.
Each time they go visit a tree, they're gonna charge us for that work done? They do something on this tree, okay, it's $10, it's $15, whatever. They go back a month from now and they do something else to that same tree, they're gonna charge us again?
No, they're probably not gonna revisit that tree. If it's on a previous work order that was done, and we need to revisit it, which I have 3 of my list for them to revisit, there is no charge for that.
Well, here's an example, there's one 2 doors away from us, below eye level now. And on the street, it's below roof level on the cars.
Yeah.
Now, while they were up there, they could have took the saw, zip, and it'd all be done. Now, if they're gonna go back again, they're gonna charge us to go back to that same tree? I mean, they were up there, it would've been a piece
We're
of
not
cake.
paying, I'm not paying on a per tree basis for this. You're looking at the work basket, so that tree may get touched again. It may get touched twice, once for clearing it from the light post, and then it's part of the overall, if it's in need of it, to raise the canopy to 18 feet over the road, or over the sidewalk.
And 15 feet over the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
whatever, I mean, and whatever.
That's the requirement, 15 over the sidewalk?
No, it's something less than that. I
Yeah,
think it's 10 or
13.
12.
There's a lot of, when you walk it, you're gonna get hit in the eye. You could get a lawsuit on this, they're hanging so low.
And that is, it is on their list to do.
Without any written request. This is gonna be a
Yes.
drive down and say, we need to do this, we need to do that.
Yeah,
For people that didn't send it in.
they have, well, anything over the sidewalk is gonna get cut over the road, because it's all part of Turtle Creek. And they have specific instructions, wherever you see it, cut it. I'm not giving you an address of, oh, this address, skip this. If you see it and you walk down there, the guy in the truck is gonna say, okay, we're pulling it all up. And then we're gonna go through and we'll look down the chutes of each of the roads and see if we have anything that looks like it's too low. They're not having, the specific homeowner addresses are for what people requested. Like they want.
Right, I'm looking at safety factors though, like this tree hanging down, and there's a lot more when you walk around. But wouldn't it have been more logical if they're not getting paid per tree while they're up there, just to do the whole thing?
Obviously, it would have been logical to have this in one master work order, but we'll be waiting till forever to get it done. And this is the best way to go about getting it done, the fastest.
And you have an estimated date when all of it's gonna be done?
End of August, as we've been saying. Obviously, weather permitting, but I mean, that was always the intent. It was to figure out how to make it work by the end of August, everything.
I have a hard time getting that done.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work.
days left. and if you
It's
got
a lot of
that
work.
many trees.
Well, it's raining.
But I think it's a very smart way to have broken it into all these separate work orders so that they could bring out a crew whenever they had them. If they had them for a short period, instead of trying to get enough crews for the entire work all at one time.
As long as they're not paying every time
No,
they
they're
visit
not,
a
they're
tree,
not.
if it's a
They're-
flat
they're-
rate.
they're not. That's not
Because
right.
at the end of the day, if you take 7 work orders and aggregate the amount of money we pay for 7 work orders, it would equate to 1 work order in total. So, I mean, you're paying the same money one way or another. It's just breaking it into something that we can push forward in the schedule and get done faster. Which I think that's what everybody wanted, versus having to sit and wait for another month before you can get somebody out there to do that.
Yeah.
But again, it's weather contingent. and
Weather
it's
has been
been
tough this year.
been killing everything.
Yeah.
At least there's no hurricanes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah, so we're getting into peak season though. That's the thing.
Right now, we just started,
Yeah. Through the middle of September is really the big thing.
right through it in October even.
Yep. So,
I have one other question. When you go, if you go to walk out the gates
yep,
and to go,
like the pedestrian gates in the front? Yeah.
how do you get back in? I mean, I'm talking walking,
Oh,
the
the,
pedestrian gates.
yeah, there's a buzzer,
Okay.
a button that rings the gatehouse. So if you're on the side that they can't see,
Yeah.
if they're facing this
So
way.
they
They have an electronic button, they'll push it and it'll open, and then it's got the hydraulic and it's got the mag, it's got the big mag on it. So it'll snap itself back closed, so we don't have any issues of it hanging open, which it did before we put that
Yeah.
lock system on there.
The old one, right?
Yeah,
The old one used to do it.
yeah.
I think so, right? The old locks?
Yeah, the old locks did. Yeah, but this mag system has been working out well because they got
Oh, yeah.
the wireless doorbells on each side.
Yeah.
So you can ring them and then we've actually got them set to 2 different kind of tones. So they know one tone is associated with this and the other tone's associated with that. And they
Yeah.
have the clickers and they can figure out which one.
That's worked, it's worked well. It
So
hasn't
far-
broken,
Afraid to
it
go out the
hasn't
gate
even broken
anytime.
down yet.
No, yeah.
Get back in.
Yeah, there is a definite way. So.
Climbed it fast.
Yeah. Jump.
I just want to make sure I get back in.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:39 PM.
Second?
All right, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it, man.